A woman's husband was cheating on her. So the woman and her husband got a divorce, and the woman went on with her life hating her ex-husband. One day, she found a beautiful lamp tossed in the streets. She picked it up and rubbed it a little bit. Suddenly, a genie popped out of the lamp. The genie said,
"I feel that you are divorced, so I will grant you 3 wishes. But know that anything you ask for, your ex-husband will get as well, only double."
The woman thought about it, then replied,
I want to be rich.
So the woman became rich, and her ex-husband became twice as rich. For her second wish, the woman said,
I want to be beautiful.
So the woman became beautiful, and her ex-husband became twice as beautiful.
Okay,
The genie says,
this is your last wish, so be careful what you wish for.
the woman thinks really hard and finally comes to a decision.
I want you to scare me half to death.
3 contractors are at a construction site to bid for a job installing fences. One is from Florida, one is from Texas, and the third is from New York. The first to bid is the Florida contractor. He measures the area and says, "Well, I reckon I can do the job for $900. That's $400 for materials, $400 for my men, and $100 for me." Next is the Texan, who measures the area and says, "I'll do the job for $700. That's $300 for material, $300 for my men, and $100 for me." The man from New York doesn't even stand up.
I'll do it for $2,700.
The foreman incredulously says, "You didn't even measure the job. How did you arrive at that price?"
Easy.
Says the New Yorker.
1,000 for you, 1,000 for me.
And we hired a Texan. A man is having marital problems, so he decides to see a therapist. The man says, "I don't know what to do. Every day my wife seems to lose her temper with me for no reason." The therapist thinks for a moment, then says,
I think I have an answer for your problem. When it seems that your wife is getting angry, just take a glass of water and start swishing it in your mouth. Just swish and swish, but don't swallow, until she either leaves the room or calms down.
2 weeks later, the man goes back to the therapist looking fresh and reborn. The man says, "You know, that was a brilliant idea. Every time my wife started berating me, I swished with water. I swished, and after a few minutes, she calmed right down. How does a glass of water do that?" The therapist says,
The water itself does nothing. It's keeping your mouth shut that does the trick.
A man is flying in a hot air balloon when he realizes that he's lost. He vents some air from the balloon to get lower to the ground to find someone to help him. After a while, he sees someone down below walking across the field. He calls out to the man below, "Hey, can you tell me where I am?" The man on the ground calls up, "Yeah, you're in a hot air balloon hovering about 100 feet above this field." The balloonist shakes his head and says, "You must be an engineer." The man on the ground is amazed. "Yeah, that's right. How did you know?" "Because your answer was technically accurate, but in reality, useless." The man on the ground answers, "Oh yeah? Well, you must be management." Now the balloonist is amazed. "That's right. How did you know?" The man on the ground answers, "Because you've got no clue as to where you are or where you're going. But you expect me to be able to help you, and you're in exactly the same mess you were before you asked me for help. But now it's my fault." When 4 of Santa's elves got sick, and the trainee elves didn't produce the toys as fast as the regular ones, Santa was beginning to feel the pressure of being behind schedule. Then Mrs. Claus told Santa that her mom was coming to visit. This stressed Santa even more. When he went to harness the reindeer, Santa found that 3 of them were about to give birth, and 2 had jumped the fence and were out, heaven knows where. More stress. Then, when he began to load the sleigh, one of the boards cracked and the toy bag fell to the ground and scattered the toys. Frustrated, Santa went into the house for a cup of apple cider and a shot of rum. When he went to the cupboard, he discovered that the elves had hidden all the liquor, and there was nothing to drink. In his frustration, he accidentally dropped the cider pot, and it broke into hundreds of little pieces all over the kitchen floor. He went to get the broom and found that mice had eaten the straw end of the broom. Just then, the doorbell rang and an irritable Santa trudged to the door. He opened the door, and there was a little angel with a great big Christmas tree. The angel said very cheerfully,
Merry Christmas, Santa. Isn't it a lovely day? I have a beautiful tree for you. Where would you like me to stick it?
and so began the tradition of the little angel on top of the Christmas tree. Two men are driving through London when they get pulled over. The police officer walks up and taps on the window with his stick. The driver rolls down his window and whack! The officer smacks him in the head with the stick. The driver asks, "What the hell was that for?" The officer answers, "You're in London, son. When we pull you over, you better have your license ready when we get to your car." The driver says, "I'm sorry, officer. I'm not from around here." The officer does a check on the driver's license and he's okay. He gives the man his license back, walks around to the passenger side and taps on the window. The passenger rolls down the window and whack! The officer smacks him on the head with the stick. The passenger asks, "What did you do that for?" "Just making your wish come true," replies the officer. The passenger asks, "Making what wish come true?" The officer replies, "I know that 2 miles down the road you're going to say to your friend here, 'I wish that asshole would have tried that with me.'" A doctor goes out and buys the best car on the market, a brand new Ferrari GTO. It is also the most expensive car in the world, and it costs him $500,000. He takes it out for a spin and stops at a red light. An old man on a moped, looking about 100 years old, pulls up next to him. The old man looks over at the sleek, shiny car and asks,
What kind of car you got there, sonny?
The doctor replies, "A Ferrari GTO. It cost me $500,000.
That's a lot of money,
says the old man.
Why does it cost so much?
"Because this car can do up to 250 miles an hour, states the doctor proudly. The moped driver asks,
Mind if I take a look inside?
"No problem," replies the doctor. So the old man pokes his head in the window and looks around. Then, sitting back on his moped, the old man says,
That's a pretty nice car, all right, but I'll stick with me old moped.
Just then the light changes, so the doctor decides to show the old man just what his car can do. He floors it, and within 30 seconds, the speedometer reads 150 miles per hour. Suddenly, he notices a dot in his rearview mirror, wondering what it could be. Then suddenly, whoosh, something whips by him going much faster. "What on earth could be going faster than my Ferrari?" the doctor asks himself. He floors the accelerator and takes the Ferrari up to 175 miles per hour. Then, up ahead of him, he sees that it's the old man on the moped. Amazed that the moped could pass his Ferrari, he gives it more gas and passes the moped at 210 miles per hour. He's feeling pretty good until he looks in his mirror and sees the old man gaining on him again. Astounded by the speed of this old guy, he floors the gas pedal and takes the Ferrari all the way up to 250 miles per hour. Not 10 seconds later, he sees the moped bearing down on him again. The Ferrari is flat out and there's nothing he can do. Suddenly, the moped plows into the back of his Ferrari, demolishing the rear end. The doctor stops and jumps out, and unbelievably, the old man is still alive. He runs up to the mangled old man and says, "Oh my gosh! Is there anything I can do for you?" And the old man whispers,
Unhook my suspenders from your side mirror.